All right, man. So we are back with another guest on Club Just, right? Handball Access. We got my man Timbo here. This is a four-time King of the Court champion, multiple Red Bull champion, Big Blue champion, Simple Green, Vegas, the Nationals, Buddha, over 50 over 40 singles championships, over 80 double championships. I mean, anything that you could think of, my man Timbo has won. Big ball, small ball, three ball, four ball. Let's introduce Timbo Gonzalez, man. How you doing?
Hey, what's up, everybody? How y'all doing? It's Timbo Gonzalez, the GOAT, which is what Justin refers me as, and most of the players, out there. How y'all doing, man?
Yeah, man. Timbo, listen, you got a large resume to just kind of justify that GOAT saying, right? And I know that you're humble. We've had conversations with who you think is the GOAT, who do you want to stand next to, and what you think you've done in your career, and if you have more to go. But before we get into all of that, I want to first ask you, currently, I see you wearing it on your chest right here.
Yes,
Who are you
sir.
sponsored by?
Right now, Team Impact.
Impact Pro, and
Shout
who's
out,
that?
yeah. Shout out to Izzy and Melissa and Zariga, the Plex, the Plex.
The Plex. And how long have you been sponsored by them? Is this your first year?
Um, it hasn't really been like um I've been with them. I've been rocking ever since they had their singles tournament, the U.S. Open 10K. So I've
Yeah.
definitely been rocking with them. There it's a lot of history that goes on beyond the handball scenes with me coming into the sport and knowing Izzy, knowing me since I was young, working my way into the handball scene. From playing in his tournaments at Parkside when he used to have weekday tournaments. That was me getting in the battlefield against all the top competition just to get seasoned and be able to go out there and branch out and play in these tournaments.
Yeah, Izzy's been around for a long time, man. I know he's got a great heart. He wants handball to succeed. They're good people over there in Impact Pro. Um, but before Impact Pro, you were one of maybe the only person that actually had a full real sponsor in Red Bull.
Yes.
Kind of talk about Red Bull, man. I mean, we all know it, but like get into it a little bit. How was Red Bull? How did that happen? What did they give you? Don't get too personal, but give us some details.
Yeah, well, to be honest, I think that was all just like the right timing. So I had no idea about the tournament at all. I was just out there, being me, Timbo, going to tournaments, playing my heart out day and day night, working out and getting ready for these big events. And at that time, I wasn't as dominating in the singles as I was in doubles because me growing up, doubles was more of the game as I was coming into the game. A lot of people was just playing doubles more. It was a lot of singles, but that was more in the parks, going to the parks, playing rookie or the top players, just calling each other out at that time. So um I heard about the Red Bull slaps last minute and it was an invite because Rookie was hosting at that time, and he would go out passing out flyers and everything, and he was like, "Oh, you should play in this tournament." And he told me I want to invite you. I told him Rook, but I was kind of hurt at the time. I had a groin injury, and I'm like, I do want to play, but I don't think I could play like that. And he's like, "Come on." He's like, "You're one of the toughest guys, and your drive just to win, you'll push through just playing." And he's like, "Not nothing to worry about. Is nothing to enter the tournament. It's free. They're giving out money. It's a great opportunity. Just go play." So I said, "All right." One of my friends had drove me to the tournament, and I was still debating whether I should play or not, and I was hurt. My boy's like, "Yo, you got nothing to lose. You're super talented. If anything, worst case scenario, you'll make it into the money. So just go out there and just perform, do what you got to do. If you win, you win. You already know you have what it takes to win. If you place, whatever, you make some money and you went out there and represent it." So I'm like, all right. Literally right before the tournament started, I went. This was in Carmon Park. So there's like a pool on the opposite side of the handball courts, and they have like a locker room. So I went in the locker room inside the facility. I started stretching out and everything. I was in pain, and then I just made my choice. I said, you know what, like I do have nothing to lose. Let me just go give it a shot. Whatever happens, happen. So I ended up playing in the tournament, and I don't know what it was. It was just like after I got by my first game, and like I was like, all right, I could do it. I just began to just build confidence more and more and more. I'm like, all right, I could do this. I could do this. And in the later rounds, I just felt more comfortable. I felt more on target. All my shots was landing. I was just playing focus, zoning everything out, and I end up winning. So after I won, the Red Bull company, it was this guy Damon Johnson, which is the one that first introduced Red Bull Slaps. He was the event coordinator and also the guy behind all of that with Rookie. So Rookie pulled me to the side after we took the pictures, congratulating me, and he introduced me to Damon Johnson. And then Damon was talking to me, "Oh, where you from?" I told him who I was and what I do and where I play, how old I was, and he was like, he pointed at me and said, "Hey, man, you mind if I grab your number or email or something, and I might give you a call soon? Who knows? We might be able to sit you down in the Rebel office and talk about a contract." So me, just as we don't. I'm like, oh, whatever. I brushed him off. I didn't really pay too much mind to it, so I'm like, all right, whatever. And so I just got back into my regular handball routine, training and playing, going parks to parks, getting ready for the tournaments. And probably I would say about like a month and a half or 2 months after, I just kept getting this call and it said unknown caller. Everybody that knows me, I'll never answer unknown calls. So it just kept happening. I said, you know what, let me pick up this call. And it ended up being him, Damon Johnson. He's like, hey, what's up? I'm like, oh, what's up, Damon? He's like, hey, how do you think about coming to the Rebel office he said he called me on like a Monday or Sunday, and he said, how do you feel about coming in the office and just having a chat with me? Um, Basically, we just would like for you to see what we have to offer, and maybe you could represent our brand. He was like, Thursday works for you? And I'm like, Thursday, I was actually going to head to West Fourth. I was going to meet up and play with a few players. So I said, yeah, that works for me. I could, what time? He's like, early. I said, all right, perfect. I could stop by, then make my way to West Fourth. So I end up going. I walked into the office. Um, we just sat down. We had ordered some food, had some Red Bull drinks, and we was just chopping it up, getting to know each other. And then he just hit me with a paper right on the table. He's like, what's up, man? How you feel about this, man? He's like, you don't have to sign it now. We could read over it, whatever, but we would like for you to represent our brand, man. We appreciate it. We see your drive, your passion. We see how hard you go on the court. He was like, you're the perfect guy for us. So, like I said, I think it was all just timing at the right time. And I said, I gave it some thought, and then I said, all right, let's do it. And I just took advantage of the opportunity. And
So
that's how it all started right there.
I tell you, man, that even though I'm out, I'm in, right? I'm in the
Yeah,
in crowd, and I never knew that story.
yeah,
Never knew that's how it happened. So in reality, it almost didn't happen if because you were
yeah,
hurt and you weren't gonna play. So
exactly.
shout out to Damon Johnson for seeing something in you before you were you.
Yeah,
What,
big
did you
shout
have
out to him.
braids back? You had the double braids or no? This was
I did have braids that specific, not
you
the
see,
double
that's what
ones,
it
but
was.
it was a few of them. It was a few of
Oh,
them.
you see, man.
Yeah,
um, so I know that in the beginning of this interview, I did rattle off a few titles. Reality is you have well over 100 open titles. Um,
yeah, for sure.
how many of them do you think you won as a Red Bull athlete?
Um, the majority of them really was because I rocked with them out for about roughly 8 or 9 years. I was with them.
Wow. Do you remember the time span, like when it started, when it stopped, what years?
I believe it was so I definitely got on contract with them that year of the first Red Bull slaps. It was just a month or two after that, and that lasted to 2000, like right before the pandemic, like 2019.
Wow. Wow. So a long time, man.
Yeah, it
So
was a while.
majority of your wins, you were a Red Bull athlete. And I want to kind of uh talk about a myth, right? Let's see if the myth is true, because this is just, gossip, right? Telephone, people playing telephone. Was it true that Red Bull matched whatever you won?
Yes. So
Wow.
part of my contract. So he rookie, gave a good word for me and told Damon, I'm that guy that was next up. It was either between me and Gio, and he said him and Gio, they're the next two to step up. And rookie told him like that's why I will never like one thing about Rookie. I will always give him nothing but the utmost respect because he put in a good word for me. He also did help me with that opportunity just by talking good about me to this corporation and this guy Damon. So, like shout out to Rook for sure, and I always respect his success and what he has done for the handball community and just his competitive spirit, bro. Like, and no, it was no one that really matched him, but he was a big part of my success. So always shout out to him.
Yeah.
And then the reason how that happened was my first year I didn't have that. But they will round up every at the end of the year, they will round up a bunch of their rebel athletes, which is like big time celebrities, like all over the states and wherever else they had. And they will have an athlete summer. So all the athletes will travel in a specific state, come together, have meetings, have a good time and just hang around the corporation and all the athletes. So after my first year, they pay attention to what you're doing out there as far as representing them as a brand and as their athlete, what you're doing in your sport. So they just seen me winning a majority of my tournaments and the main ones. Always, drinking a Red Bull, wearing whether it was a shirt, arm sleeve, a headband, a hat, whatever it was. But I will always, brand them, and I will always go out there and perform at the highest pace I could. And they loved that, man. They were like, "You're winning everything." So after that year, when I re-signed with them, because I didn't do anything long term with them. Everything was either a year or 2 years at a time.
Okay.
And the contract just kept getting better and better, So it's like what is there to say no to? They just keep bumping it up,
Of
giving you,
course.
more opportunity. So I was just taking it. So the second time I signed with them, they offered, hey, what do you think about us putting because you're the level that you are, they told me every time you win, what do you think about us putting prize bonus in your contract? So every time, but you guarantee have to win first place or you don't get that. If you win first place, we'll match whatever you win. All you have to do is just send us the picture of the bracket and show us the guarantee that that was the payout and we'll cut you the check. And it ended up just sparking that fuel and that drive, man. It was
Of
motivation,
course.
man.
That's incentive.
Yeah, so it
That's
was
incentive. So
like
you
a
only got it if you won.
only if I won. That was part of it. Yeah.
Wow. So now,
So it's like you have to be a winner. You got no choice but to perform, So it was like it was a big motivation when I was getting into these tournaments now because I had that behind me. So it was a big
you
push.
were
It
you were
definitely helped.
you were doubling up on every event.
Yeah, it went from like me winning and then me even joining more, branching out, joining more tournaments, traveling across the states. Like I'm like I gotta take advantage of this the most I can. Like it's there, the opportunity's there.
Yeah.
Ain't nothing stopping me. So that's what led up to me. And then they told me, listen, if you need hotels paid for, you need flights paid for,
Everything,
we
man.
got you.
That's so
Like all you
cool.
gotta do is they gave me a email and I would email. It was called Altor Red Bull North America. I would email and they had specifically a department of people that answer my emails any time of day. And they would just get back to me. I will give them travel details and they'll have everything booked right then and there within like 15, 20 minutes. So I was like, all right, now I could cross over. I was winning so much in one war. I said, now I could cross over and try something, that's more competitive and is going to make me want to reach the top. So I said, let me go to these small ball tournaments, these 3 war, 4 war, and that's how all of that inspired.
That's crazy. That's awesome, man. So the myths were true. The myths were true that you were doubling up on every event you won. That's so. Now you
Yeah,
keep
for
to, we're
sure.
talking about athletes, right? We're talking about you as a Red Bull athlete. So here's my question for you, and this is coming back to today's game. Um, Talk to me about the level of competition in today's game? And do you think that it's better or worse than when you were dominating?
Um, I would say I don't think it's better, but it's definitely it's it got better in talent for sure. Because now
Okay.
there's a lot of new players that are playing now when I was dominating that wasn't in the scenery. And these guys, they got in the game quick, developing opposites, developing, just that drive and that willpower to win. So it's something new, and I like to see it, and it's just,
So there's
but
more talent. You think that there's
it's
more
more
talent
talent,
in
but I don't think it's better.
okay.
I definitely don't, because when I was coming up, you got to understand, when I got my A card, I was still, even though some of the greats were getting older on their way out, but they were still performing at a high level, which is like the Pee-wees, the Rays, the rookies, and all the other guys, the Snookers, and everybody else, that was Atlanti. Like, all these guys were still great at the time that I just got my A card. So it was like, not only did I battle like players that was coming up with me, and we all came up together, so we was at a specific level. I was still, now I had to step up to the big leagues and battle still all these experienced and seasoned guys for years. So that's why I would say when I was coming up, it was a harder journey, and it was better. It was
Yeah.
more aggressive. It was more of like a really a fight in the
Yeah.
game to win.
Let's say that you were involved in three different eras of handball, right? So your first era is more like what you watched more than you played. This was the Emmett years,
Mm-hmm.
rookie, real young, those years. Then it was the era you dominated, right?
Okay.
And then now it's the new era. Out of those three, which one do you think was the best in competition? Not when you were the best, but competition wise, which one do you think was the
I
best?
would think when I was watching, definitely.
Okay,
When
so
I
right
when I
before
was
you
Yeah,
dominated.
yeah,
Yeah,
for
there was a
sure.
lot of people there, man. I would
Because
see videos.
a lot of people don't know, before I even jumped into the handball tournament scene, I was a student of the game. I would sit and watch nothing but games and tournaments for hours. I would literally go to tournaments and just sit and watch every game, just to really get the understanding and learn, from my outside point of view, like, what are the key shots, what is weaknesses in certain pinpoint spots on the court to make a situation, difficult for your opponent. To You also learn, what type of angles is gonna make your opponent struggle with getting back the ball a specific way. It was a lot that I just really wanted to learn, so I sat for hours and days, and like probably a year or two, just really watching these games and getting a full understanding of the
Yeah. No, absolutely. That's awesome. Listen, I'm not a student of the game, but I'm a coach before anything else. So,
game.
I sit back and I kind of study. I know exactly what you mean, man. Obviously, you took your studying to the next level.
Yeah.
And I live my studying, my next level through my athletes like Colleen and stuff.
You the reason that the Celtics won, they told me.
Come on, man.
They
They
said
gave
you
me a
gave
call. They say, yo, we need the blueprint. I gave them the blueprint, man,
Yeah, that's a fact, man.
But okay, so we're talking about athletes, we're talking about eras. I have a question for you. And this is it could be answered in different ways, and I just want to know uh your thought process on who you think is the current number one player in the game right now.
Okay, so who do I think? That's a two-way question, because obviously it's the singles and the doubles division. In singles, I would definitely give it to Davo right now, for sure. In doubles, I would have to put it between Los and Taiwan. because these are the two guys that's consistently within the last few years has been, winning and making the finals more than the average team. So I
Okay.
will put it between them two.
Okay, so if Taiwan was winning more singles, then it would pretty much be Taiwan as the number one player, you would think.
Yeah, so Taiwan is like, all right, Taiwan, I would say last year and a couple years before that, he was dominating, like really dominating, winning the majority. Now, not winning all of them, but winning, the majority. Whether it was he has three and Thai will have two, or he has two and Thai will have one, he was winning the majority for the number one spot against Stavo. So this year is a bit different. I know he's facing injuries and that plays a big effect in your performance, but that's why I would give it to Thavo right now at this time.
Yeah,
But I
yeah,
think
yeah.
if Taiwan was healthy, he'll definitely push Thavo to the limit.
Um, yeah. Oh, so Taiwan and Low. I mean, I might be a little biased, but I'm gonna put a different Dominican in that doubles category. My gorilla
Well, as
brother.
as as far as this year, Carling, he definitely deserves to be in the spot up there because he's definitely putting in that work this year. He's winning a bunch of tournaments. Every time I look left and right, AB, another AB, a doubles.
Hmm.
He's making great wins in singles, getting to the finals, he going to the semis. I'm like,
He's
I
playing
told
good.
Carling, I had personal talks with Carling, and I told him I would like to see him win an open singles. Like I feel like his career deserves that title, open
We're
singles.
trying. We're trying, man. We're
I feel
trying.
like once he does that, he could go on his way out and say I've done it. You know what I mean?
We're
Like
trying.
yeah,
I promise you, we're trying, man. We got close. We got
no,
close,
definitely,
man. We
definitely.
got close.
I feel like if it didn't carry on to the next day, I think he would have had that title for sure, man.
Yeah. He so talking about Colleen, is there ever gonna be a dragon and gorilla, you know,
You know what's funny? We were supposed to play in the nationals together.
this year
And no, I think
or
it
in the
was
past?
either a year or two ago. And with his work scheduling, because it's many days, and he couldn't give me an answer whether he could have made it or not. But um, yeah, that was in the talks, and I told him I would play with him in a tournament, whether it's big ball or small ball, because he's great at both. And I always respected his level of competition he comes with in the game. He just plays his heart out. He hustles. He don't matter what the score is. He's a brute force. He plays with force in the game, and he comes in as one in the win. Man, and sometimes that's all you need on a team on your side. And I played a lot of money games with him, man, and we won a lot of big games together. I don't think I think we only lost about probably like one game ever,
Yeah.
but
I just can't
he's
believe that you guys never played in a tournament together.
yeah. So the thing is with him, he comes more from the older generation, so he was more always paired up, with his partners, and he's solid, he stick by his partners, and he plays with who he plays with, and he was a guy that I will always see in the finals more than any other team. Like it was just always him. So when people ask me, oh, what you think about these players, like I never hate on nobody. It's good to see him winning now because I was on the other side and seeing him, just running up short because he would always play me in the finals. So now that he's winning, he earned that. He worked for that. You know what I mean? So you gotta appreciate that he's still there and consistent with it.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, man. I mean, that's my boy, man. That's my boy. But enough Colleen talk. We were talking about number one players. And I've mentioned this to you before. You always kind of chuckle, but it's very true. Um, when you were dominating, you were considered to the mass majority as a villain. You were the villain of handball. And it's not really because people hated you, they just hated that you won so much.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, Yeah. So like, how did you adjust to that? Did it ever bother you?
One thing about me, I always watch, a lot of podcasts and, get the understanding of athletes and their mindset. So I did get questioned a lot about that, during my time when I was dominating, and everybody will always ask me, why don't you respond to these comments on YouTube, Facebook, or Instagram? Look how bad they talking about you. All I did was I'll see it. Don't get me wrong. I'm the type of person I will scroll through a whole comment section and just read everything. But I just felt like if I engaged in that, that really didn't do anything for me. Why don't I just use that as, some fuel and just go out there and just perform better?
Yeah.
But for a while I didn't see it at first, but then it really started kicking in. Like I would go to tournaments and I would just sit down and observe the whole, atmosphere, and people really did want to see me lose.
Yeah.
But I had to understand like that just it comes with it. You know what I mean? It comes with it. And all it did was it just gave me drive and motivation to just keep going harder, because I'm not gonna make it easy for y'all to see me lose and see my downfall. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, that I love that. I think the first time that I witnessed it was the second time you beat Gio in the finals of the Red Bull. I don't remember what year it was, but that day everyone was cheering against you.
Yeah.
Everyone. Like every time you missed a shot or he scored a point, it was like the whole crowd cheered. And every time you did good, it was like all you heard was your sister, right?
You know what's funny? Let me tell you what's so funny. It still goes through my mind this day. To this day, this is all I hear from when I was in the back in the long line, and I would hear somebody on top of the gate behind the fence saying, "Spike him, Gio! Spike him, Gio!" And whoever that guy was, shout out to him because he gave me the motivation to come back and win that game. But he just don't know it.
Oh,
But that's
really?
all I
Because
kept
you were
hearing in my
losing,
ears.
right?
If you really watch that video, watch it and hear out for this guy. He just keeps saying majority of the points. Keep spiking him, Gio. Spike him. He can't mess with you. You the man. And I'm like, it's right in my ear. And I'm like, and also before that game, it was funny because I always have this. People don't know this. Every time I face Gio in a singles, when the referee goes to flip that coin, this is the only part that I get annoyed at in the game because I'm like, if they flip that coin and it lands on what Gio calls, he's easily running points out because he's going to come with so much force on that whip serve to the left, hitting the line, letting it bounce, hook out. I said he's gonna score most of his points right now on this. So I will always hope that I won the coin toss and not him. And most of the time it was always him. So he would start out 5-0, 6-0, 7-0. And I'm like, all right, I got to get myself back into the game. It's just lock down on defense and just give yourself opportunities to come up and just score, whether it's a point at a time or a few points. But yeah, man, every time I played him, man, that was a big key factor, man. That I just knew if he won that coin toss, I'm like, man, he's gonna run points off right now.
I love that. I love that. Here's a quick sideline question, because you just said something that's awesome. You kind of you you prepare for your handball games, especially when you were vintage Timbo, right? Dominating. Something that you just said, you knew that if he won the coin toss, he would run out a few points right there. It's because you know your opponent, right? And I feel like in today's game, I people don't study, people don't prepare. There's no, it's almost like I'm just gonna go out there and play my game. I remember years ago we were in the YMCA in Manhattan playing four wall. And we were waiting because people had all the courts, and I was talking to you, and I had asked you if you go into your games with a cookie cutter game or if you know what you're going to do based on your opponent. And you started rattling off the weaknesses of every top player at that time. You went with Black Justin, Tall Justin, Pee Wee, Ralphie, Taiwan. Davo, you started rattling off like, well, this is how I play this one. This is how I play this one. Like, why do you feel people don't do that right now? I feel like it's not done enough.
Well, like I said, I think more people nowadays they have since they have the talent, right? They just go in there overly confident and they just have that self-confidence, which is fine. One thing about me, I never wanted to be overconfident when I went into a game. So a lot of studying took place before tournaments. I will definitely watch footage, not only of just me playing these guys, of these guys playing other players that I know could push them to a certain extent, and I will look out for what works, what doesn't work, what they're comfortable at, like what shots, certain shots they like to chase down, and what's the best option that they could go and hit a winner, or what's their go-to shot, how they're comfortable when they're in a certain stance. And all of that played effect, bro. I would just watch. I would watch before tournaments. I would watch a week before a tournament. I will watch all the guys that I know potentially I'm going to end up playing in each round. And that's how I broke down every player's weakness, and I was able to capitalize when I'm going into these games. Now I see the bracket. I'm like, all right, I'm going up against this opponent. This is what works. This is what I watch. I just have to enforce that in this game and just stay consistent.
That's
And I'm going to
awesome.
come out on top.
Yeah, I mean, you were a true competitor, man. Like you were like, I'm not just gonna rely on my talents.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah, for
gonna
sure.
I'm gonna study this too, like, and that's what makes someone a great, right? That's where you go from good to great is like you have that edge over most people. I love that, man. I always think back about that conversation and what you said. Obviously, I'll never be in that position to use
It's
your
crazy that you remember that though. Like that's
yeah, yeah,
crazy.
of course, man, of course. Um, so I have a question here, and this is kind of like uh getting a little into your history, more like your bad history that you're not, we learn from things, right? I
Okay.
know recently in the Nationals, you just got DQ'd. I don't want to hear about that one. My question is, have you ever gotten DQ'd prior to that from a tournament?
I
Uh,
have.
okay. Now, the question
Sorry.
is, go ahead, go.
No, you're good. Sorry.
You hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. So my question is, why did you get DQ'd, and do you feel like you learned anything from it? Even if like it was like you learned how to be more sneaky, but like what did you learn?
What the time I got DQ before the Nationals?
Correct.
Well, it wasn't really my fault. I was playing with Earl in a it was a Saha AB in Edison Park, and we was playing Geo and Los. So tensions, was rising, and Buddy was the ref, and Los had got a warning. They got a point deducted, and they did, other things to carry on, and they wasn't disqualified. So it frustrated Earl. Earl was a great player. He was a hothead, and I understand, but he wanted to win. He was a winner, and things it ticked them off at times because we were supposed to be already in the next round with these guys getting disqualified, and it just didn't work out that way. So it was a crucial point. I believe they ended up getting back into the game. We was winning the whole game. We had point game. They got back up, and it was 20 up and second server, and I turn around before the score was called, and I turn around. I'm speaking to Buddy, and I go, Buddy, can I ask you a question about a play that happened? Because I felt like he wasn't giving us the same vibes he was giving them. He was just letting them get away with a lot of things. And as I'm talking to him, he calls a score, and these guys serve the ball behind my back before I could even turn around, and they end up winning the game like that. So that just blew Earl's mind out the map. He just went erratic. He had a spaz out, and he did. We was young at the time. You know what I mean? But he ended up, getting into an altercation with Gio. I stopped it. I grabbed him. I told him like, "Yo, don't worry about it." We ended up, and that's one of the times that I got DQ. They because that point was supposed to be played over, but they ended up saying, "No, we're not gonna do it. We're gonna just DQ y'all," and it just led to me. I wasn't even like I said, it wasn't really my fault at all because we didn't get no warning, we didn't get a point deduction, none of that. We just, but whatever situations happen. And behind all of that, I ended up losing out on the opportunity to having another King of the Courts because this was a year I was dominating too. So I wasn't allowed to play in no Saha tournaments that whole year because of
Wow.
that situation.
What was that, 2016?
I could only remember if I look up the video because I know there's a video on Nothing But Handball out there during that tournament. So I would just have to really look up the video to remember that year.
That was the year Gio beat Rookie in the finals, right?
I believe so. Yes.
So that was yo. Again, I thought I was in the in. I
Yeah.
never knew why you didn't play that year.
Yeah, so they told me, I didn't. It is what it is. I accepted the consequences, even though it really had nothing to do with me. But the white had told me, listen, you and Earl was a partner. So as a team, whatever he does and how he acts, it carries out, and you both, you get penalized for it. And at first, it bothered me. I didn't say nothing. I didn't. I just, and I'm like, I just didn't. It didn't make sense to me, but I let it go. And I just learned from that situation.
Yeah,
Don't just try to be better and don't put yourself in those predicaments again.
yeah, yeah. Okay, okay. How do you feel about um in our current game? There's not really many bans anymore, or suspensions. It's more like they just won't invite you to a tournament. Do you
Okay,
feel like
so
that's justified? Like when if someone's out of line and someone's throwing a tournament next week, they're like, yeah, this one bugged out last week. They're not going to be invited. Do
I
you
think
feel?
that's fair. I think that's better than putting a ban on a player
Yeah,
because if you look at it for example NBA Draymond Green, right, say he get a couple texts and gets ejected, and then he has to sit out for 2 or 3 games, and after a while, nobody wants to be left out of these tournaments, especially if this is something you look forward to and a big tournament that you want to be at. There's people that want to see you play. There's people that want to play against you. It if you if you do the not inviting a player to a tournament or two, that's definitely gonna help. It's gonna make them, listen, I might have made a mistake. Let me fix that situation up. I'll sit out these, and then hopefully I could come back and play in the next ones after they they don't invite me in the first one
yeah,
or two.
yeah. Okay, okay, that's good. That's interesting. I want to ask you a life question. Um, where does handball currently fall in your life, Timbo's life? Right. I know you got a son, he's getting older, the young dragon,
Yeah.
right? Where does it fall in your life and your priority of things?
Right now, handball for me is it's kind of a love hate relationship. Um, More love though, but so to be honest, I enjoyed sitting back for a few. The time that I took off to heal my knee, my thumb, my shoulder, and I enjoyed watching. So I think that since at the time I took off, me sitting back, I got too used to that, and it didn't. It was enough time to make me not want to be driven to get back into the sport the way I usually would. Like I have that motivation right away. Let me get back into training. Let me get back into dominating because I could. It's just a switch. It's nobody stopping me but me.
Mm-hmm.
But I got too comfortable with that, and I embrace, seeing other people win, being happy for other people playing better, seeing them make it far in tournaments, getting these wins, and just going out there and just playing and showing different talent because I didn't get to enjoy it from that aspect when I was playing all the time. You know what I mean? So it's different. Now I want to play more, so I'm trying to get back into the game, but I'm pacing myself. I'm not rushing anything. I'm just pacing myself, trying to be as active on the courts, a few times a week just to get myself into that level that I know I could start winning again, dominating. But it's I'm taking my time with it. I'm not trying to rush to get injured again, and
Yeah.
and all it is just it's just me, pacing myself.
So a comeback is in the future.
Yes, for
Okay.
sure.
What I know you said it's like a switch you got to flip on, right?
Yeah,
What is it going to take for you to, what do you think it's going to take from you to start, let's not say dominating, right? Because that's hard, especially we all get older, father
yeah,
time,
yeah.
and like, but what's it going to take for you to get somewhere near where you were? Is it weight loss? Is it playing more? Is it training? Like, what is it?
It's definitely it's some of the weight. It's definitely the playing. And I just think I'm not really I don't have that motivation I had like before because it's not as many tournaments like I used to have when I was playing. Because if you think about it, I was playing Saturday, Sunday, fly out, playing a weekend event, come back Saturday, Sunday. There's not many opens no more, so that doesn't excite me. You know what I mean? Now we just have the big events, and they're so far apart. It's like it leaves room for you to lose focus and go to barbecues and hang out with the family, have a couple cold ones. And it's too much of a gap. So
Yeah.
it's just battling with those things. Like I said, for example, when it was tournaments every weekend, you already win, and now you locked in. You got to be ready for the next one. So you got to prepare. So that's a big key factor when it comes to the sport right now.
Yeah, I never thought of that. You're right, because you lost what? We lost the citywide, Red Bull, Simple Green, Vegas,
Gladiators, 10K.
Gladiators, 10K.
That's a big
Um,
that's a big majority, man, of
oh yeah,
tournaments.
you're right. Buddha until it's coming back now. Battle of the Kings, the Philly one, and now it came back this year.
Yep.
Heavy hitter AB. I remember
Heavy
one
hitter
year
AB.
you slammed ABs. You were slamming ABs back to
Yeah,
back
yeah,
days. Yeah,
yeah.
you are right. We lost a lot. We lost a lot. I'm going to skip one of these questions really quick because we're kind of talking about what we lost, and I'll come right back to it. But why do you think we're losing these tournaments? Why do you think we aren't where we want to be? And be honest. Be honest. Think about
All
it.
right.
Like, what
All
is it?
right. I'm gonna say it starts with the players, man. Not respecting, what the organizations and the host is doing, and they letting what happens with the refing in the game dictate their emotions and their outbursts, towards the tournament, and which is something that shouldn't happen, and it makes the sponsors and the tournament host and all these guys, the staff that come out and help put these big tournaments together to give us a good payday and have us perform at our top levels. It makes them feel unappreciative, and they're like we don't deserve to get treated this way, or having to deal with outbursts like that. So it definitely makes them want to take a step back, because it's like they've done so much for us without asking really for anything. So I think that's a big part of it.
Mhm. The players. No, I agree. Listen, I have a conversation all the time when I bring up like, hey, players, you got to stop disrespecting the refs. And some players, I'm sure if they're watching this, they'll know exactly what I'm talking about. Immediately will say, oh, well, when the ref F's up, they gotta like, what do you want me to do when they and it's like, I'm not trying to say the refs are perfect,
Yeah,
right? But all I'm saying is that there's a right way to address something and a wrong way, and you have to stop doing it the wrong way because we're never going to get anywhere. I know as a host that referees are one of the biggest issues we have in our game. I know that.
absolutely.
But people got to understand is that 90% of the time we're paying this individual $10 to referee that game. That $10 is not enough justification to be disrespected the whole game. It's just
Yeah.
not. So I feel like I agree with you that it's the players, it's the rules, it's the refs, but a lot of it can be solved with players kind of being better.
I
You
think
know,
uh I think the refing issue is more of like, all right, for example, I'll give you an example. For one of the AFs that me and Alan have played in, we played Mikey and Pito, right? And this was a big game. It ended up being a close one. I think the game ended up winning. We won by like 1 point, 21-20. But we had someone like Carlos, for example. A lot of people, they have nothing but respect for the guy, because he's been around the game for a while. He's thrown a big, massive event Buddha for us that everybody enjoys and love being at that tournament supporting him. And it's the respect level. So when a game like that we had, it was a bunch of crucial and crazy calls, but just the fact that he stands firm on his calls and we all respect him. Sometimes we would go to him like, yo, Carlos, I want to appeal this or that. And he'll be like, don't waste your appeal on that because I'm not giving that. Like a ref like that, it'll make a player more comfortable on the court. Instead of a player going in there having to worry about, oh, this ref is going to cheat me. He's going to do this. Also, a big part of it, I try to explain to refs also, is like, if I'm a player, this is from me looking at it as a player, on the court and not from the outside. I'm a player. So this is one of the main key things I tell the refs. Even if you're not gonna give me the call, right? But if it's a call that I feel like I want to appeal, I don't like when refs just will look at one person and just be like, all right, then make their call. Give me
you've
the
told me that.
satisfaction. Give me the satisfaction of walking to all your refs. Even if you already got your decision made up in your head, just give me the satisfaction. If I appeal, you walk up to all your refs, boom, come back, make your decision. That's all I care about. If you do that, I'm fine with your call. Yeah, of course, it's going to affect me as a player. I'm going to be upset if I feel it didn't go my way, but I could respect that. I could go in the game knowing, like, you know what? I asked for a pill. He went towards ref. He didn't just look at one, gave them the nod, and made his call. So these are big key things that has to get put in the game, especially if you got a call. I feel like if there's a call on the left side of the court, you shouldn't be going to all these refs over here. This is how I see it. If there's all right, for the right, I think it should be two refs on each side. So, for example, on the right side, I believe it should always be a short lines ref there and the right linesman ref there. That's two. On the opposite side, I feel like it should be a long line ref there and a left side linesman. That way, you can have two views on an angle shot there, and you don't have to come ask these guys that really don't have a view over here. You understand what
But
I'm saying?
yes, and I agree. But now here's my question, right? If the call was out on the right line
Yes.
and the lineman said out, and I thought it was out, right? As the head ref. And I
On the
go to
you saying the right side, right?
on the right side. I
All
thought
right.
it was
Okay.
out. Right line said out. I go to the short line ref, and he also says out.
Okay.
Right? Think about what you just said. You want me to ask all my refs, but at the same time, you just kind of made a point saying, why am I going to ask refs over here when they don't see it? You know what I mean? So, like, that's
Okay.
just tell me.
But see, as a me from being on the line during the games, well, the right thing for the guys on the opposite side to do is just to say, listen, I don't have the best view, and that call stands between you and these guys because that's exactly what I do. You can ask Larry when I help him in the national. If Larry asks me about a call that's over there on the angle, the ball going out or not, I'll tell him straight up, listen, my judgment on this view is not for you. You're gonna have to stick with your call and what they say.
Okay,
As a ref from the other side, that's what they supposed to say.
I respect that. So, you at least want them to say, I don't know.
Exactly.
Okay, okay, I
Just be
respect
honest.
that.
Listen, I don't. My judgment from this view is not gonna be great. So I'd rather you just make your call and go to the other refs. That's all it takes, bro.
Yeah, yeah. No, I agree. I get it. Listen, I talk about handball throughout my day so much more than I would ever think about. And just for example, I was on the phone with Jared today about an issue with the rule book that I found, and we will be addressing it shortly. But not here, but like me and Jared, like
Yeah.
with the rule committee and stuff, because like nothing's perfect, right? And we're because the sport is still evolving, our rules are still evolving, and we're trying to find things.
Hmm.
So yeah, I hear you, and we're trying to get better on our end. I promise we're trying to get better. But we do need some help from the players. So I do appreciate what you said, and I do
Yeah.
agree with you. Um, I want to talk about for anybody that's watching that's still here, right? I know this is what they're waiting for. We want to get into the brain, the mind space of Timbo, the dragon, the goat, when you're playing, and how you see the game. So the first question here is, has the game slowed down for you? Like, has it become easier?
I think everybody know this. If you're a true player of the game, as you get older, you just get smarter. So the game's definitely changed. The game is more slow to you. You start to develop different shots. You start to lose some of your best shots that you had that you started the game with, and it'll be your bread and butter just because the dynamic and everything changes as you get older. So it's shots that I had was bread and butter. I would do 100 times in a row. I can't do it no more, because
Mhm.
it's just you develop different core IQ. It's just so much that plays into the game as you play for years and you just get older.
Do you, when you are playing power side, when you are playing the left side of the court, and you have a right-handed support player,
Okay.
what do you want from them in a game playing that right side?
Um, Position is key. That's number one. All right. For example, if I'm serving, right? If I'm serving, I like to cover most of the court, close it out. So they can't create angle and they're limited to certain returns that they have to hit. So for example, if I'm serving, I expect my partner, once that ball passes him, to step in the court, leave a little bit of distance between the outline and where they're standing, open up their ground and stay planted. Now you're closing up the middle. Because after I serve, I'm coming over. Now the middle is closed up. It's limited to what they could do. They got to hit the middle or lob it. Everything else is blocked off. You hit it this way, you're forcing an angle between me and my partner. You can hit it out. So you have to either hit the ball into us, a block, lob it, or return it to the middle with a slice, which puts me on offense right away. So that's just the way I think when I'm in the game right away like that. Playing with a right-handed player.
Duck Sam, if you're watching this, I hope you heard that, man. So, like I said, I talk about handball more than I ever realized. Earlier today, another conversation, handball conversation, was with Duck Sam, and we were talking about weak side play. And he was like, I'm playing with these guys out here, and they're like, I need you to get in front. But then when I get in front, um, like I don't like playing in front. And I'm like, well, what you got to understand is that any better player than you, it wants you to play in front because not only do you give them a place to offensively shoot the ball, your presence in front stops your opponent from shooting the ball because you're there already. And he was
Exactly.
like, yeah, but then what if I get jammed? I said, well, listen, and I want you to correct me if I'm wrong, because maybe I talked out of turn. I
Okay.
said, if you get position in front and your partner hits a bad shot that now leaves you stranded and you get jammed, your partner should take the blame for that. Do you
Absolutely
agree?
correct. Absolutely correct. I could play it for you right now, just exactly how this goes. If you have a partner that's scared to get in position, right? This is all I tell them. Playing the weak side is easy. It's literally there's three things to do. If you put these three things into your weak side game, you will definitely excel. You will definitely become a better weak side player, and it'll definitely be more comfortable for you. Number one, when you're on that weak side, even if you're battling a player for position, is literally three key shots. If you're behind your opponent, throw a lob, find that angle and get in position. That's two things. The lob, the angle. Now, when you're in position, you have the dump. So if I'm in front position and I'm a weak side player and Timbo is driving that ball hard this way, you know this player is not going to return the ball to Timbo. It's automatically coming to the right side of his shoulder to jam you. Get your stance, look back, follow that ball off the fly in front of you or angle. That's all it is. There's nothing more to it. Also, you being in front position, if you playing with a player like me, you're right here. If I have my opponent behind you and you're in front position, I could shoot this right angle off of any shot, whether it's with my left or taking it off inside out. It's gonna delay him from getting that ball. He can't see it. He can't see whether it's gonna kill right in front of you, whether it's gonna take off on an angle, or if I switch it up and I see him trying to run in, I could just change up and do a drive shot and jam him up because you in position. So he has to work around you. If I shoot in front of you, he has to get around you. If I shoot in front of you, he has to look for the ball between your legs. There's a lot of key things that front position helps and allows the players that play that position better to win. It just puts you in all the right spots to win a game. If you notice my weak side game, if I play with a lot of players, and I don't mind playing the weak side because I know what you have to do on that side. You know, all these players that's gonna drive it, jam it. Yeah, force them into let them think in that because a lot of players they will get so into the volley trying to jam you, and if you notice, they'll carry over. Kadeem, Los, and Mix do it. They start driving into the person on the weak side, and all they do is they just move over from the power side more to the middle. So you bait them if you're on the weak side. What you do is you get your hands ready, you take all those shots off the air, and the minute you feel that they're close to you, you sneak an angle. Boom, an angle. Or if they driving, you feel like they're gonna run in, they think you're gonna kill it, throw a lob up. It's all it is. It's just reading body language. That's all it is, bro. But
You
people don't pay attention to that. They just worry about the if I'm in front, I'm gonna get jammed. No, take your time and really think. Look at the court. Watch video footage. You'll see the difference and learn. Allen, look at Allen. Allen is experienced on the weak side. Why? Because he knows what it takes. He's been there. He understands the game. He got good core IQ from that weak side. And it's hard to get even at this age that we not maybe not young like the Edwins and the Nas and these guys, but we know what to do, and that's a big part of the game.
Yeah, it keeps you it even though these guys are younger, faster, more vibrant,
Yeah,
knowing what to do can keep you relevant for many years. Yeah, I love that. You broke everything down. I think that and I know I've had this conversation with you before, that because you see the game so slow and you understand it so well, when you get frustrated at your partner, it's because you're like, you don't see it? Like I see it. What did you
yeah,
do wrong? You did this, and this wrong. And it's like they don't even, because your intellect in handball, your IQ is so high,
yes.
um, people aren't on that same level. So there's often times where they're just like, what did I do wrong? And it's like, bro, you did five things wrong there,
But
and you
see,
don't
but
even
see,
realize it.
it's crazy that you bring up that situation, right? Because I tell, it's like say, like I told you, I've explained it on the Burning Rubber episode. I'm the person. I just need you to do one thing right. You don't have to say it's four things you do wrong. If you just do one thing right, that just allow me to build momentum and build off of that. That's all I need. You could do the other three wrong. Just get one thing right.
Yeah,
Either whether it's if you're not making your shots, it's cool. Get in position or drive that ball hard to the opposite. Push them out so I could maintain that dominance in that front court. Just something. You know what I mean?
something.
Show me you want to win because
I
you're
want
trying.
there's a video of Gio playing with Joe Durso in an AB. I think it was an AB. It was at West Fourth, and Joe Durso was older. I wasn't there. This was before the golden era, right? But there's a clip, and I watch that clip all the time because Joe Durso on the weak side, I feel like he only did 2 shots. And it was, if it came to his left, he lobbed it. If it came to his right, he whipped it across court. Nothing
Okay.
else. Nothing. And mind you, he didn't score any points doing this, but it opened up the court
Oh,
every
of
time.
course.
And then Gio comes flying in and he's shooting. So I from me, always wanting to be a top weak side player, never achieved it, but I always wanted to be. That video is one that I always would watch because it's like, man, you really just simplified this game.
Yeah.
So yeah, I hear you. I tried to, again, I was telling Doug Sam that your position is so valuable to your partner that I don't think you understand it. And I'm glad that you kind of just you addressed that. Give me give me one more kind of advice that you give, that you would want to give to a up and coming player, someone that's kind of reaching out to you like, hey, what can I do better? Whether it's like where you serve, how you kill, where to shoot. Give me one more golden advice that you want to give somebody.
Well, a lot of it is footwork. That's a key and a major thing to have in this sport. As long as you plant it right and you have that stance, you can hit your shots better. So that's the main thing. A lot of people, what I need to work on. So I look out for these things. If you don't have the proper footwork while you're going for your shots or getting ready to go for, like you gotta put that in your game. That's a key. That's a big thing right there.
I like that.
Why
I
you
like
think
that.
if you look for example at Taiwan and Nas, right? When you see them in the front, they always have a solid stance. They get low, boom, easy dump because of the way they solid footwork. You have that stance, you solid. That ball is gonna lay down. Another example, Los, when you hit it down the line and he comes out the court, he goes out of the line. What he's doing, he's putting all his strength on his right side, his leg, and boom, hitting a drive by down the line to catch you because now you defending that in the middle. You thinking he's gonna go angle, but it's his footwork. Back pedal, get his solid stance, boom, hits a blast right down the line and catch you. It's a lot of your footwork, man, that has to do with
It's
this
true.
game.
It's true. Are you a believer in when you want to hit an angle shot, when you're learning to hit an angle shot, you should angle your feet to in the position, the place where you want to hit it? Did you ever hear that advice?
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean. Um, yeah, that's definitely you'll create a sharper angle like that, but also it's certain movements of your hand, how your wrist action. You could hit a steeper angle the way you push out or bend your wrist.
Yeah.
But definitely, yeah, definitely position you. You want to position yourself to give you that sharper angle.
Yeah.
That's
I
definitely
wanna
for sure.
I wanna credit Artie. Artie baby. You
Oh
know,
man,
I had to I kept telling him when I played power side that I had a real problem that I couldn't hit the right corner. And he kind of broke down how to angle my body when I'm going for that shot. And I now, not that it's consistent, but like I now develop an angle shot to the right based off advice that Artie gave me, right? So, he gave back to the community a little bit, man. Shout out to Artie.
perfect example. Just look at the lefties, Artie, Colleen, and Paulie, right? Anytime you see them go for that inside out, their body, their right shoulder is facing towards the wall. Boom, they push out an angle.
Yeah.
Whether it's from either standing in the back or anything, you will always see the right foot planted in front of their body and their shoulder facing the right wall. And then they just go inside out.
Oh man, I love that. I hope a lot of people listen to the advice that you just gave because that was huge, man. Timbo, we're almost done here. I have a question for you. This question is directly from Colleen. Um, the
Colleen
world,
asking questions now.
the worlds are coming up, right? And
Yeah.
Colleen was gonna potentially go out there. I don't think that he could make it this year. But he's interested in going to the world at some point. When I was reading over your resume,
Yeah.
your extensive resume of tournament wins, I noticed a few world championships. Uh, Talk to people about the worlds. How is it? Like, how is it when you travel overseas and the vibes and the competition and all that?
Well, it's the worlds. I feel like it's a main stage, and it's a beautiful thing to be a part of because now you got all these different races and players, talented players coming from different codes of the game, small ball, whether it's forward, and going out there representing their country. And it's a good atmosphere to be around. It's beautiful to watch. It gives you Olympic scenery, and it makes you want to perform. Because you just see all those people cheering. Everybody's so interested in the games, the matchup, and how well it's organized. It has the atmosphere is just second to none, and it's a great feeling being there. If no one has ever been to the Worlds, listen, you definitely should try it out. It's a great experience
Have you ever
for
been to
sure.
Ireland?
I haven't been to Ireland. I've been to London. I've been to Belgium and Spain, but I haven't been to Ireland yet.
Are you gonna go?
Yeah, I'm gonna go. I'll be attending the Worlds for sure. Shout out to
And
Impact,
Pat,
my boy Izzy and Mel sending me and Alan out there to represent.
that's awesome, man. That's awesome to hear. I love that. Um, Yeah, so we're kind of at the end of the interview. I think that there was a lot of insight that you provided. I appreciate you coming back on a stage with me to talk about handball. I don't have my man Burning Rubber with me this time, but a lot of people still watch that Burning Rubber interview and they're like, "Yo, this
Oh
was the
yeah,
best one." Just the background, the handball, the fact those kids came up to you and asked for autographs and pictures, that wasn't planned. That was
it
just,
wasn't.
you're the man. They recognized you and you gave them some encouragement. So what I'm gonna leave off with is kind of a thank you, right? I wanna thank you. I wanna thank you because recently uh I was frustrated. I forgot what it was. I felt like down about handball, about what I do for handball, the criticism that I get and stuff. And you just were like, bro, don't ever stop. Like, I appreciate what you do. I watch what you do. You're doing a great job. Like, don't ever stop. Matter of fact, start doing more. Like, you kind of really put another battery in my back to continue doing what I'm doing. I'm not doing a lot, right? But like, just helping out because I was losing some love for it, man. So
Yeah.
I just want you to know that your words can move people, like, and that's with me, that's with you telling a player like, yo, you're playing good, maybe do this a little better, but you're almost there. Like, just anything that you say, you never know the effect that it can have on someone. So just continue being positive. Sam Clutch put a video up asking when
My
vintage
dog right there.
Timbo's coming back, so the people want to see it. um I think that Davo is the number one player in the world, but I think we need at least one more year of Timbo up there, man. So do what you got to do and do it, man.
Yeah, definitely. Thanks. Shout out to my boy Sam, man, for motivating. Because there was a point in time a lot of people don't know this. That
I
video
know
he made, it was a time and point when he just gave up on handball. He didn't play, and
you brought him
it
back.
was it was a Vegas tournament coming up, and I'm like, damn, nobody is able to travel with me, and I don't want to just pick up. I need somebody that's going to be there with me and do the things that I need them to do. And he was my only person that I could think of off the top of my mind. So I say, you know what? I hit him up and I didn't take no for an answer. He's like, nah, I'm done with this, bro. I'm just, I'm on to different things. And that chapter of my life is done. So he didn't know how serious I was till I took the drive out there and I'm like, what is it going to take for me to get you? He said, I haven't played. Tournament was in 3 weeks. I said, listen, I'm going to come here every day for 2 weeks so you can see I'm serious and you're going to play against me every time I get here. to get you ready because you coming with me to this tournament. And I just kept my word, man, and it ended up working out. And he saw me coming, and he was like, "Yo, you know what? Let's do it." And he came out with me to Vegas. We ended up winning. That was the one. We played Los and Pito, and they had a great tournament that year. And I think they had just won the year before that, or probably after. I don't remember off the top of my head, but they were playing really good ball, and we ended up playing them. And he gave me that little push I needed at the end because of experience. Me telling him send the shot to the left, to Lowe's left, send them up. He helped me at the ending of that game because I played in multiple divisions. I was a little hurt, and we ended up coming on top with the win. And it was good, man, to win with my brother like that.
That's awesome.
For
Did you
sure.
win a Zariga tournament with Sam too on his
I,
comeback?
I won a. He came up for my birthday one time. We won in Castle Hill, and I won the Vegas with him. I believe I won. It was either two or three with him. But
Mhm.
yeah, we have about two or three tournaments I won with.
That's awesome, man. So yeah, the motivation is there, the encouragement is there. We just need you to get there, man. We're waiting
Yeah,
for
man.
you on the other side.
Shout out to all the tournament host organizations out there, the players. Everybody keep doing what you're doing. Help the sport grow. The sponsors, man. All of y'all. We just gotta come together collectively as a community and just keep pushing. I'm also doing I'm working on doing a juniors clinic coming up. I'm gonna post the
Awesome.
event page for WPH. Dave Vincent reached out to me to throw a big ball juniors clinic. So stay in tune. I got that coming up so I could give back, to these kids that's up and
That's
coming.
beautiful. That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Make sure you reach out to Duck Sam because he asked me about his boys want to start playing. His boys.
Okay.
So I told so just make sure you reach out to him because he's interested.
Yeah, everybody's welcome. I'm gonna post up event page. They sending me medals, shirts, and balls, and we just gonna have a good time. Pick a location that is easy for everybody to get to, and just get this event going for the next up
Awesome.
and coming players.
Awesome. That's
For
awesome. Well,
sure.
Timbo, thank you for joining. Thanks for answering the questions, man. We appreciate you. I hope to see you back out there soon.
For sure.
And I'll talk to you later, man.
All right, my bro. Later,
All right.
Just.
Peace, bro.
Peace, bro.